My first deal was with him, the company's owner. So he said, you want salary or you want commission? I said, how much is the salary? And he was like, you can make about $100,000 a year. And I was like, well, how much is the commission? He was like, about 12% on everything you sell. Ooh. I said, oh, I'll take that commission.
Exactly.
He was like, but you never sold medical supplies before. I said, no. I'm going to take that commission.
Right.
Because I had the confidence and the work ethic. And my first year, I made about $300,000.
The first year?
The first year.
All right, welcome Bootstrappers back to another episode of Bootstrapped Millionaire. I'm your host, Tim T Mercer, and I'm excited to have a good friend of mine on this episode, Mr. Joshua Baker. Man, welcome to Bootstrapped Millionaire.
Thanks for having me, brother. It's an honor, a privilege to be here.
No, it's my honor, man. I'm really excited about this because you are the type of person that I would consider to be a not only just an investor, but a silent business owner, so to speak, right? As you know, I know a lot about the deals that you are involved in, the business that you're involved in, and you're the type of guy that's always behind the scenes, right? And a lot of people don't know that a lot of successful business owners are the guys that's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And so when you and I talked about it, and I said, man, I would love to get you on the podcast, it was exciting to have that because I would like people to be able to hear from someone who sits behind the scenes and orchestrates a lot of major deals that is happening, particularly here in the city of Atlanta and across the country, because I know you do a lot of business all across the country. So just to get started, tell our bootstrappers a little bit about you, right? You know, where you're from, what got you started in entrepreneurship?
Well, I'm from Ocean City, New Jersey, South Jersey. Born and raised Jersey. My father's family's from South Carolina, just, Marion. So got that Southern roots, that Southern hospitality. But growing up as a child just didn't have much.
Right.
So everything was about making more out of less. So I was just born with that mindset of trying to figure out how to create something that wasn't there. I saw it around me. Being at the area I grew up in, there was a lot of wealth around us, but in our particular neighborhood, in our particular town, it wasn't there. So for me, it was like, man, I want to be the best. I want to be the smartest. I want to be the best athlete. My family were very competitive, so it was just about transitioning, and I was sponging with some of my friends. Like I saw their family. I saw a guy's father, man, and I was like, what, is this all you do all day? He was in the stock market. That was his job. He woke up, newspapers all day long. And I used to just sit down with him and talk to him, and he'd give me some insights, some tidbits. And I was so amazed by entrepreneurship, and then the struggle of always depending on someone to give you a job.
Yes. And
being black in a large, predominantly white neighborhood, I felt like we were always asking, hey, can you hire me? Hey, can you help me? And growing up, I said, when I get to the point, I want to make sure that I'm positioned to, one, hire myself, and two, hire other people.
So do you have siblings?
Yes.
Or what, are you the oldest?
No. Okay. So my mom, she had 5 boys.
Yeah. My
father, he had a few others. So it's a lot of us. I think it's about 11 or 12 of us all together.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like in the middle.
Yeah. So what was your first introduction to entrepreneurship?
My first introduction to entrepreneurship was my cousin. He's in the back right now. But I started a company called Royalty Production.
Okay.
And it was an event planning company and at my college campus. So I used to bring in all the speakers, throw all the parties, do the concerts, comedy shows. And then I partnered with a nightclub that I helped manage. So I used to do both. I bring in an event at the college, and then that night I take it to the night.
So how old were you at that time?
I was in my early 20s.
Early 20s, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so you obviously got the bug of entrepreneurship, like you said, from growing up, wanting to have something different for yourself. But How did you even get involved in doing it? Was it just something that you just felt that I would just want to start throwing these events, or?
I went to the College of New Jersey. It's a predominantly white college, and it's very acclaimed academically. But they didn't have things that for us.
Yes, understood.
So I'm I'm not waiting for somebody to do what I can do.
Yeah.
So first thing I did was I signed up for the Student Finance Board, Student Government Association. People like, yo, black people don't be on there.
Right.
I'm like, yo, but everybody who's somebody's on there. So I don't know what they do, but I'm going to be on there and find out.
Right.
And it just opened my mind up. I realized that a lot of the student funds was going into to these budgets. So we were actually, the students were throwing all these events for the college. So I'm like, wait a minute, this our money? Oh yeah, I need some of this. And I just changed it.
Right.
You know, Black History Month, my first year was like a $250 budget. When I left, we had a $55,000 budget for Black History Month.
Wow.
I had co-sponsorships. I had partnerships with the different organizations, fraternities, sororities, bringing in stars, I had Dr. Cornel West, who's running for president. I had him come speak as a keynote speaker for Black History Month. And the school was just like, you can't do this. I said, why? Student Finance Board does it. Student government does it. It's the same money, it's the same pool. And then that just gave me more energy and gave me more confidence to keep doing things.
So from there to, what was your next big entrepreneurial move, right? The move that brought you into millionaire status, for example, right? Because I know, this is Bootstrapped Millionaire, right? so when was it when you first hit that $1 million mark for yourself in business? So
in the nightclubs, things started changing. Cities started changing, time started changing. And I had a friend of mine, I have to shout out to Mike Salini. I called my boy, I said, Mike, man, you said I had a favor, I'm calling in that favor. And he was like, what's up, man? What's the party? I'm like, nah, it's no party. I want to get into medical sales. He was like, man, you got a nightclub, a restaurant, what do you want to get into medical sales for? And I just saw the writing on the wall. The entertainment thing was changing. I was getting a little older. Yeah. I said, Mike, man, for the last year, I've been doing inside sales and some other sales jobs. He was like, bro, you don't need no money? I said, no, but I wanted to have the experience. So when I did call, he was like, bro, you've been working at the nightclub, running the restaurant, and you've been doing sales.
So help me understand. So you telling me you were running nightclubs, but you chose to go and work in inside sales with the goal of learning, I guess, learning the game.
Right.
Wow.
I wanted to learn the game too. When I went to pull my resources, I don't believe that you should just go ask anybody something, or even if you have, the relationship. I wanted to show him that I was serious about what I was doing. So I put that year in during the day to let him know, hey, listen, man, I'm doing inside sales. I know marketing. My business expertise. I want to get into medical sales. So I gave him something to support me with outside of just a friendship or a favor.
Understood.
So he knew I was committed. Yeah.
Why medical sales?
Money. It was the money. And I always enjoyed speaking to doctors. I always enjoyed entertaining. So I knew I could be comfortable there. I knew I had some room to still have my personality. I could still grow. So he introduced me to a gentleman named Jack Roberts, Cardio Medical Products. And that was the beginning. Yeah. And the first positive or the best decision I made in the beginning was the deal. My first deal was with him, the company's owner. So he said, you want salary or you want commission? I said, how much is the salary? And he was like, you can make about $100,000 a year. And I was like, well, how much is the commission? He was like, about 12% on everything you sell. Ooh. I said, oh, I'll take that commission.
Exactly.
He was like, but you never sold medical supplies before. I said, no, I'm going to take that commission. Right. Because I had the confidence and the work ethic And my first year, I made about $300,000.
The first year?
The first year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's step back for a second. Help my bootstrappers understand what is medical sales, right? Because some people may or may not know what medical sales is. Help us understand that.
So when people hear medical sales, they automatically think about pharmaceutical sales.
Correct, yes.
So medication.
Yes.
Medical equipment sales is actually surgical devices, surgical equipment. So my specialty was surgical instrumentation, surgical light sources, things that are in an operating room and also in sterile processing. Radiation protection, PPE, products like that. So the company I worked with was a distributor. So I had a bunch of products, man. And I was like, man, I got all these products and all I got to do is go to the hospital and build the relationships and make some money. I said, man. So it became a lifestyle and I became everything I started doing. And then I just built from there.
Yeah. And so making the decision to forego the salary versus receiving, just doing commission, because with commission it's eat what you kill.
Yeah.
Right. You're not getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. What made you make that decision? Because a lot of people are afraid of sales. What made you make that decision?
I sat down with Jack and he said, we were talking and he said, there's two ways to go about this business. He said, you can become a millionaire or you can be a good salesperson and have a good career. I said, well, what does it take to become a millionaire?
Yes.
And he says, time, commitment, dedication. He's like, and you're going to lose a lot. He was like, but in place, you'll position yourself to get things later in life. So you have to substitute early. So I had the child, family, I had to put that back. I had my first child when I was 37. So I delayed a lot in the beginning because I was starting from scratch. I didn't have a family that I was piggybacking off of. Whatever I made, it was mine. It was the beginning for traditions for my whole family. I was starting a legacy and I was willing to delay certain things in life, certain relationships. I delayed it because I know what I wanted to get, my ultimate goal was going to have me. I had to commit that type of time to it.
I think it's an important point that you make because I often tell people that one of the biggest things that you have to be concerned with becoming an entrepreneur is time management, right? And how your business will compete against your family, your kids, and all the social things that you'll find yourself having to choose whether you're choosing your business over your family, right? And that's why I tell some people, if you're going to start in business or in sales, start early, right? When you don't have those other obligations. And so when you got into sales, because did you feel like sales was a form of entrepreneurship at that time? Or because to me, I think sales is the ultimate form of entrepreneurship, right? Because you're eating what you kill. But most people think that it's all about just starting a business, right? But in this case, you were selling a product for a business you was working with. You were just doing it as a salesperson. Salesperson just making commission.
My manager, he was like, Josh, in the beginning, he said, remember this. He says, they can take everything eventually, but they can't take your relationships.
True.
So I started my entrepreneurship with building the relationships. So as I developed those relationships, when I decided to start my own distribution company 3 years later, the relationships was established. Even though I didn't have the same products, but those relationships. So in entrepreneurship, and the business creation, it's really creating those relationships on whatever you're going to do. If you're selling cars or painting or whatever it may be, those relationships is very key.
Absolutely. So fast forward, so now you have your own distributorship, right? Where you're distributing metal. Because then you and I talked about this off camera about a great product that you just recently created.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about what it took for you from from a salesperson to now owning your own distributor company.
Wow.
Distribution company, I'm sorry.
It took a lot of, man, listen, it's been a roller coaster. And life is a roller coaster. There's ups and there's downs. I remember my biggest deal back then was Atlanta VA Hospital.
Okay.
$600,000 worth of instrumentation, one order. Man, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Right.
I'm talking about I got the boxes in the back of a truck, pickup truck at that. No covering. It's raining. We delivering it ourselves. Man, the boxes falling off the truck. We in the middle of the highway, man. We loading the truck back up. Boxes is wet, man. But it was so much exhilaration, man. Like, man, I'm a millionaire after this. You know, they about to cut me a $700,000 check.
Absolutely.
I said, man, I made it.
Yes.
Man, then you learn that you ain't been taught how to manage money. You ain't been taught what to do with money. And you start trying to do everything that you always wanted to do. What you saw everybody else is doing. And I learned that way because I didn't have the right I didn't have a mentor.
Correct.
But I was smart enough to know that I had to keep working. So when I made my first $1 million, I didn't just pack it up. You know, I kept investing back into the business. I kept investing back in myself. I kept wanting to learn more. I started extending my relationships, and people were just so willing to teach you. People were willing to tell you their story.
Yes.
So I just started sponging.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, man, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing it right. You know, I bought some properties. I lost some properties. I had some nice cars. I had a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, a lot of experiences. But the opportunity created more opportunities. And I didn't have any bad blood. So even though I made mistakes, I did it with a clean heart. I was genuine. So I didn't burn any bridges. So it allowed me to double back, you know, sometimes triple back around in order to make the opportunity to get that money again.
What do you feel has been one of the biggest mistakes that you've made over the course of entrepreneurship?
Don't pay taxes. You late on them taxes? That's easy. That's easy. Uncle Sam gonna get his. Uncle Sam gonna get his money. And you don't think about it. You're like, man, they taking half of my money.
Right.
But, you know, I had to change that mindset.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
Right.
Everything you bring in is not yours.
Not yours. That's right.
So I learned to start separating what's not mine to the people that it belongs to. Get that over there. That ain't yours. You can't spend that. And that opened the door for me to really get into better financial management, better scheduling, time management. And once I had my son 10 years ago, then I really got focused on legacy building. And then I really wanted to make sure it wasn't just about making money to go out and party. It was about making money to build a legacy for my son.
So financial management was one thing that you knew that you had to step up your game on, right?
Yes.
Especially when dealing with the IRS.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us what it was one of your biggest wins in your entrepreneurial journey.
I would say COVID. It was probably some of my biggest loss too.
Oh, during COVID?
During COVID, because of how it affected people that I cared about.
Understood.
I lost some family members. I had some friends get sick.
Yeah.
And then for our industry, everything was shut down. You couldn't get gloves. You couldn't get face shields. You couldn't get face masks. You couldn't get nothing to sell. And then the hospitals were insulated. So a lot of people, even the big companies, were having problems with supply chain and getting products. And I was sitting there every night. I used to sit at my computer looking, trying to find a product to sell, because that's my life. That's my business.
Absolutely.
You ain't got nothing to sell. You ain't making no money.
Right.
I don't got no check, no unemployment check. So I was like, wow. I said, I just don't understand. It's so simple. Some of these products are so simple. It's like a face shield. It's just plastic. And I'll never forget, I had my cell phone. And I was like, man, it's just like the plastic on these cell phones, the covers. light bulb went off. I called the cell phone manufacturer, the company that makes plastic for cell phone manufacturers. I did a deal with them for them to make me face shields. I sent them a model. So I started producing my own face shields in China and changed my life.
Wow.
At one time, I was selling face shields to pretty much the whole East Coast.
Wow.
Yeah, my own face shields.
So you took a problem and actually turned it into profitability.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I made
a lot of money.
A lot of money. A lot of money.
So when I think about entrepreneurship, you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. So in the book it talks about the 4 quadrants, right? The E, the S, the B, and the I, right? And of course, you on the B side, right? You on the B side. It seemed kind of knowing a little bit about your journey. You have now kind of ventured from the B side, the business owner, or maybe you're still playing the B side, but now you're also participating on the I side,
right,
as the investor, yes, right? And as the investor, obviously investing in other businesses, in other people's businesses, projects, and things of that nature, right? That transition from the B to the I side, right? Do you think was that a hard jump for you?
No, not for me.
Yeah.
Only because I've always been investing in myself. So when you're depending on yourself, I used to have a joke with my friends. I'm like, man, when I got a problem, I call me. Right. I got 2 cell phones. Yeah. I call my other self. Because whether it's, physical problems, altercations, financially, whatever, I've always been investing into myself. And then, so, looking at other people, looking at other investment opportunities, I wasn't afraid because I took losses. So I know I lost myself money. Exactly. So I wasn't afraid of what could happen. And then I study. I'm a student. Yeah. I pay attention.
Yeah.
And I'm not just doing things at my particular age now just to be seen.
Yes.
I'm doing things because I'm trying to create a legacy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, obviously, when we started the podcast, we talked about you being in the behind the scenes, orchestrating a lot of the successes of businesses and projects and things of that nature, which we'll be getting into during this conversation. But do you think that the ultimate goal, I think it is, but I want to hear your opinion. Do you think the ultimate goal for business owners is to eventually get to that I category?
I think depending on your makeup.
Okay.
There's some people that are just going to be, they like to own mom and pop shop.
Correct.
They like their car dealership. They want to manage their restaurant, and that's the space that they want to be in. They have no desire for chains. They have no desire for licensing. They don't want to scale, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But for certain mindset people, you want more. You always looking to scale. You're always looking to reach. You're always looking at, when you see certain problems, you're like, man, I have answers to a lot more than just what I can do. And I love partnerships. I love working with people. I love partnerships. So I'm more open and adaptable to do bigger projects because it's easier for me to work with other people.
Understood. So here's what we're going to do, Joshua. We're going to take a break.
Okay.
All right. On the second part, we're obviously going to get into to learn more about these ventures that you're involved in, right? And I'm telling you guys, he's involved in a lot of business ventures. And I actually want my bootstrappers, my audience, to know more about the ventures that you're currently in, how these ventures are really taking off for you, because the hope is to give other people insight as to how they can kind of duplicate some of the things that you have done, right? So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to get more in-depth knowledge of all the ventures that Joshua is taking part in.